Okay guys, back with rk24. I want to give you guys an update on it. I had a comment online about the deck, and then I had an issue with the tractor itself that was caused by what I'd done. And I want to let you guys know about it, that maybe you won't make the same mistakes. I don't work for Rural King. I don't get any money from them guys. I just really like their product. I'm satisfied when I go in there. I've always been, and they have really good people that work there. I'm pleased to be one of their customers. Right now, let me go ahead and show you the, the deck on it that I had a comment online, and the way I feel about the deck. Okay, I'll get them up here. Let me come up here to the front to the problem I had. When I first did a video on the deck, I was talking about adjusting these two screws in the front of the full drive system. And my opinion on it, which I was giving you my opinion, not what the manual or anything said on it, but my opinion was the way I thought that the two bolts here were adjustable, where you can actually adjust them out and they would hit right up against here to keep your steering from turning so tight. And of course on both sides. Well, I was over here digging some dirt and I got a squeak. It was coming out of the front here, and I wasn't for sure what it was, so I took it back to Rural King, and Rural King took a look at it and said that these are supposed to be screwed in to like some type of some measurement of a millimeter. I think it said 14. I thought maybe the nut would have been a 14, but he said it has to be screwed in so far. So it has to have something to do with this full drive unit here in the front. I wouldn't think it would have, but they did stop the noise from squeaking, so they did solve the problem. It was really helpful in there, and they got some really good workers. Now this is Rural King we're talking about. So like I said, I made a mistake on it. When I make mistakes, I'll come back and tell you my mistakes, and maybe somebody else would have did the same thing, and this way they wouldn't make that mistake again, because Rural King corrected this. And like I said, I adjusted this bolt out further, which apparent to what they're saying in there, that it's supposed to be a certain measurement in and have something to do with the full drive. And like I said, I don't think it would, but hey, you know, they're the mechanics, they're the people with experience. I'm just learning on my way. Okay, so we do make some mistakes, and I want to correct it and let you guys know that this is what Rural King told me, that this is supposed to be adjusted a certain length inside, and it has something to do with the full drive, which, you know, that's what they say. And so I really don't know how you can adjust this to keep it from turning so far, and that it would actually hit the back of the deck. And I'm still working on that. When I find the issue and how to get this deck to go back, right now I had a little trouble getting this deck to go back a little bit. I'm just watching it when I mow so it doesn't hit the deck. Okay, now when the deck's up real high, then it has more issue when it's up than it is down on the ground. But guys, be careful. You know what I'm saying? This thing, the rk24 turns very sharp. Don't ruin your decks if you got a deck underneath though. Okay. All right, now let's get back to the deck. The deck itself. I had a viewer that looked at the deck and said that the manufacturer did not say this is a drive over deck, and I understand that. But there's a few issues that I have, even with Rural King. If it's not a driver deck, they might not want to cover it, because the people would just probably drive the whole tractor over top just to prove a point. I don't know. All I can say is there's a few things on this deck that probably should be changed by Rural King if they don't want people to drive over this deck. And this is my opinion, only my opinion, by my experience, not by somebody else's or even by the manufacturer or Rural King. To me, I think the deck is heavy enough for me to drive over it, and the way it's set up, or as I say, design. First of all, you have a couple, I call these cleats. Anybody can call them what you want to call them, but these are metals. This is the piece of metal that sticks out in the front. The way I can see it, and if I point it up here, it looks to me like the wheel would pretty even line up right here, would line up and drive over top of this, and this would catch the tire when it's in full drive, so it can pull up over top of the deck. And then if you come back here, this is solid metal, okay? This is all solid steel here. Now, if you couldn't drive over top of, why would they waste the money to put on this piece of metal here, a solid welded piece of metal? Why not put plastic on it? Cut the cost. Same thing with the two pieces of metal they have on both sides. Okay, you have another plate right back here. Now, if you look at that plate, you can see that plate is lined up and actually cut into a curve where it looks like it'll match up. Okay, but if you, for the front tire, really you wouldn't run it over the back tire. Don't get you know, you don't run your deck over backwards. You run it over the front. Of course, if you have a loader on, take your loader off because it'll make it lighter. But what I'm saying is, there's a piece of metal here on the back, piece of metal up here on the front. Now, the back one, of course, you know, the back one would be when you first approach it to drive up over top of it, and then your front one, of course, would be to back up over it when you wanted to unload it. Okay, now that's my experience. That has nothing to do with Rural King. I drive over this deck. I pay for it, and I can drive over it. Okay, if the warranty doesn't cover and something happens to the deck, hey, that's fine. But I see the way it's designed and the thickness of the deck, and that it's a drive over. Now, I've seen another video online that was another company, basic the same type of design setup where people can drive over top of it, or I would call it drive over it. And I'm not trying to mislead people on that information. That's just the way I feel about it when I made the first video, and it was exactly the same. That's the way I felt about it. Now, like I said, if that stuff was removed from that deck and then put plastic on the top, up here on top, then I can understand. You're not going to drive over that piece of plastic. You're going to smash it. But the way this thing looks to me, and it might not look to other people, it looks to me like you can drive up over it. Now, if Rural King wants to change it and not make it a drive over deck, then they should take that metal off of there that they had welded on there, designed to weld on there, and put plastic on this thing and probably save thousands of dollars as many mowers they sell. That doesn't make any sense to me. They go out and spend that kind of money into a deck and then say it's not a drive over deck. The only thing I can think Rural King's not doing that for is because people will probably abuse this deck and don't care and just drive over it just to put a video out and test it, and then, you know, to see if they can run the whole tractor over it. So I don't know. I'm not trying to lie to anybody. I'm not trying to, you know, misguide anybody. That's my experience with it. The same thing with the front end. And like I said, that front end, I would figure, you know, that it would actually, because even the front end, like I said, when I made the first video, the front end, it's cut right here. You can see, and you can see that bolt, it hits it. You can see where it hits it right now. Okay, when you turn that real sharp. So, you know, it only make common sense. You think that bolt would have came out, so, you know, you can stop it more so it wouldn't turn as much. But they said no, that bolt's supposed to stay in there. It has something to do with full drive. And like I said, I did have a squeak in the front end. And when I took it back in, they adjusted this, took it out in the parking lot. They drove it. They run it around for a while, no squeak. And so far, I've had it for 2 weeks, no issue. No squeaks at all. And I've used the loader and everything else. So I just wanted to do an update on this and let you guys know that, hey, I ain't trying to misguide anybody. That's just my personal experience. And I would love to keep giving these videos out and letting people know that what experience I have, what downfalls, you know, that I've had with this, with the RK. I really like the little machine, and give people, you know, updates on it. And that way, you know, it'll give you guys something to think about if you go buy one. You know, I've had people say, well, you know, you bought the deck, or, you know, how come you get one for the back, or something like that. You know, hey, you know, I really didn't need the deck. I have a mower to take care of what I have. But I thought it'd be a neat thing if I had to go out and do a job somewhere, that I can throw this underneath and go do a job, make a few dollars off the machine. But yeah, it's a nice machine for the price of money. I can't find anything cheaper on the price. I'll just keep making the videos and let you guys know how this thing's holding up, and, you know, what maybe, you know, what other tools or other attachments I get for it, because I plan on getting a maybe a backhoe or something like that for it. So there you go. I'm hoping this helps you guys out. Like I said, this video I'm making right now is only for my purposes only, my purpose only, no one else's, and my experience with this tractor. And the views I put out is things that I see. And like I said, I do not work for Rural King. I have nothing to do with Rural King. So, all right, thanks for watching, and leave some comments down below, and I'll try to answer them best I can. Thanks.